Hello there, welcome to Heart Explained Therapy, and I want to talk about something that is really key to you having, I would like to say, a better life, but really what I'm saying is maybe handling the worst stuff better, if I'm being completely honest. Now, I don't know whether you have ever heard the idea that you can control your emotions and your emotions causes most of the problems. Now, this is very simple, but I don't think people know how to do it, and I don't think they really understand when they hear that some people do this. I don't think they really get what these people have achieved, and these people aren't amazing people. They can just stay very calm. They don't seem to have too many fears. They seem to be very logical and rational in lots of situations, and these people, I mean, at the moment you probably kind of call them the wise uncle, or the aunt who will always know what to do, and you probably go to these when you really need somebody to give you some advice, or it could be that person at work who's just really calm about everything and you always ask them how they deal with certain things. Now, I'm going to try and explain how you get to the part where you can even get a foothold of handling emotions. But I want to talk you through a few experiences on how you will see how really silly it is on how emotional we can be as humans. A massive highlight for me is how I know friends who mood will change for days if their football team loses. Now, lots of people who don't like sport will just be like, yes, that's stupid, I don't understand that. But for, you know, most guys, a lot of women interested in sport now, but, mainly guys, if their rugby team, football team, favourite sports player, World Cup team loses, this can put them into a bad mood. Now, this has shown that they've been emotionally engaged in the game, and what was going to come from the end of it was either ecstatic jubilation, if you like, hysteria, great feeling, some sort of need being met, or the negative. And when you're setting yourself up for this in a sporting game especially, you're very unconscious, you're very ignorant to the true feelings of being human, and it's okay to have passion, to be patriotic, and to really get involved. I mean, this is a great thing that we can watch a sport and get so involved, but you can also be a good loser. I remember times when every time England crashes out of the World Cup or the European Championship, all of the calves in the high street end up getting smashed. And I've always just thought, where does it turn to madness? Where's the point where we watch a football game and it turns to madness, aggression, anger? And of course, I'm picking a sporting event which you could say basically you have the average people who watch the sort of football game is working class. They're not the most conscious people in the world, and also added to boot a nice depressive drug like alcohol along with that cocktail, then you're gonna have hooligans. You're gonna have that unconscious racism that's supporting black players on the field, but then trolling them racism over Twitter. But there's lots of variations. But I'm just going to talk about the emotional attachment, and women don't come off this. Just because I've mentioned this example, you have the same thing. If one of your orders don't come through on time, or one of your orders aren't in stock, you can have this sort of paddy, this emotional paddy. And what we're talking about is childlike responses to adult situations. Childlike responses to adult situations. If you carry on acting like a child, you're gonna live in a very childish place. It's not gonna be, the world around you might be or might seem to be grown up, but if your consciousness, if your intelligence hasn't met this through the control of emotions, you're going to have lots of paddies. You're going to have lots of times where you think you're right, and you're not right. You're completely mad. You're completely unconscious. You're completely ignorant to anybody else's views. You're actually unconscious to a bigger reality. You think it's perfectly okay to spend £700 on a coat when the 3 people in your street combine that income into a monthly living allowance to survive, and we don't even ever think about it. We don't think about it because we just think, oh, who gives a shit? It's that simple. And I want to try and work on how your emotions expand your intelligence when you control them, when you stop just reacting. You come away from being an animal. Now, you're always going to be an animal. I can't get away from the fact that we are definitely evolved intelligent mammals, but this cortex that kind of just come onto the scene in a grand and beautiful style that just went from a man gliding with air with paper wings into a RAF jet that can go upside down and shoot down a birdhouse from 700 miles away in a short amount of time. What we are expanding intelligence, and we should at least live like that. And that's not to be miserable roughly 10 minutes after a sporting event or 10 minutes after any event that doesn't go your egotistical way. So how do we handle these emotions? Well, like anything, first of all, you got to start being aware when you actually have them, because at the moment you're under the illusion that you feel happy and you feel sad, and you feel mad, then you feel happy, then someone's pissed you off, so you have every right to be angry, and then someone's made you happy, so you're happy again. And it's the same behaviour that you have in a kid, and this isn't right now. It's not. It's like everybody else, but that's the problem. You're being an angry kid to your angry kid partner, or you're being an angry kid friend to your angry kid neighbour, and you're just going around in circles. So find out about these emotions that you have. When you're super high and happy, just have a little think about how you got there, and you will find an emotional need has been met. Now, don't worry, this doesn't take you to a place of emotionless, so don't worry about you being a senseless robot, because at the moment you're probably more a senseless robot being this yo-yo of emotions. You're probably not really fit to call yourself a mother and father, and if you've got kids and you're hearing this, you don't want to hear that. It make you feel uncomfortable, but again, where's this uncomfortability come from? I hear lots of people come to therapy and they're like, talk about stuff, and you would honestly think they're the only people that exist in the world. Their narrative is that everybody has screwed them over, everybody has hurt them, and nobody else ever feels any emotional pain. And this is a narrative that is purely egoic. The ego just telling them, if we say this, we're going to be alright, we have no work to do. And if I attempt to break into any part of that ego, I get met with such a brick wall of defence, like they have right to be there. And I always ask people this: when is the point when your yo-yo behaviour gets to the point where it feels uncomfortable? When you realise you've done bad things and you keep suppressing them, and you realise that you don't have to be toxic to people, you don't have to have this short fuse, you don't have to have this ego defense that it's all because of the way that you was brought up, or you're, you know, you're an introvert and it's okay to be an introvert because you was a lonely child, and you have all these bullshit excuses. When's a time when it's uncomfortable for you to live life? Because those people aren't living, they're surviving, and they're taking drugs to get them through the day, they're distracting themselves on Candy Crush, they're just obsessed with distraction after distraction to cover up their bullshit existence. And it's just, when's the point when that comes and becomes the emotional uncomfortability rather than this yo-yo of being happy and sad? It's like, when do you start to think, right, I upset people around me, I've hurt people for 5 or 10 years now, and I keep doing the same things to them, and I keep looking outwards as if they haven't changed when I haven't really done any work to change myself. And controlling of these emotions makes you fearless, it makes you stronger. If you can talk somebody down from rather than nutting them, you're the strongest man in the world. If you can use your communicative skills, if you can use your intelligence, if you only fight in an act of self-defense, you have mastered a massive emotion there for a male. And the same for a female, if you can do that. And a female, if you don't shout because someone has made you feel small and worthless and unattractive, and really at the deep of that is you can only ever do that to yourself. It's impossible for anybody, even if they stood there shouting at you all day, unless you interpret that to mean something that can never happen. No one can ever hurt you. That's impossible. I could say now, you are the most pathetic, useless swine ever. Get a grip. Get a life. Unless you interpret some sort of truth on that, as in, you know what, that's pissing me off because he's right, what does he know? And I hear it all the time. I have an Instagram account that is full of people, no matter what I put on there to try and help people with mental health, everybody puts a response that says, but you don't know what it's like. I had a meme the other day that I put on that says, a wise man once said nothing at all. It's a great analogy. You don't have to speak to be intelligent. The most cleverest man wouldn't have anything to say because he realised that language was just created. So it's pointless to say anything really. And I got hit with, why don't you say a meme about women? Women have been brutalised and suppressed, and it's just like, well, this is just a meme. I mean, to me, rather than reply, go and make a meme and change it to a woman. It doesn't matter to me. It's not my fault that women have been suppressed for hundreds of years. You know, I'm just sharing a meme that makes a lot of sense to me, but I've not sort of put any act of sexism onto it. The act of sexism come from the person who's fighting against this obvious sexism or suppression, and it's like, why would you want to feel that? Just go and do your positive thing. And I just feel like it's all anger, rage, and we can rage like this because there's conspiracy theories, and we can be anti-government at the moment because everybody else is, and we don't like COVID, and this shouldn't be happening, and it's like, calm down. Because all you're really saying is, help, help, I'm petrified, I'm scared, Mummy and Daddy are gone, and I'm scared. That's all you're saying. When you get engaged in these rageful, horrible war of words on social media, and these little jealousy, spiteful sort of responses, and these emotions that you project as if you have some sort of intellect and intelligence. Control emotions, it's the future, it's the key to our survival. And I'm amazed that we've survived this long not controlling them.